Age of Radio.
Today's episode, Missy and I are talking about the positives of quarantine.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of On Finding Peace. And this is the podcast where Missy and I talk about practical life tips for helping us find our inner peace and happiness on a daily basis. And today's topic, we're recording this at the end of February and 2021, and we're coming up on about a year of dealing with various quarantine issues. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But we'll jump right in with Missy looking comfortable on a porch where I guess the weather is better than me sitting in my shed with a heater on.
Yeah, it's beautiful out here in sunny Southwest Florida, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to sit outside because it's actually starting to get warm. But I'm not saying that to make you jealous or anything, Chris.
Well, saying I was wondering if I could sit out here because it was so cold out.
Yeah. Oh man, and I can smell the honeysuckles. And I was just telling Chris that there's birds and butterflies and bees and squirrels and woodpeckers and everything is like just happy to be, experiencing spring. So if I trail off, if you're watching this on video, that's what I'm doing, I swear.
I remember, and this was back in the early 1990s, but I lived in southern Florida, and for me, the best part of spring was when the orange blossoms opened on all the
Oh
orange
yeah.
trees.
Yeah.
And just to drive down the road with the windows open and just whiff that wonderful scent of the
Yeah.
orange blossoms. I've never experienced anything like that before that or after that.
Yeah. Right now I'm actually sitting next to a gardenia bush. And that's why the
Nice.
bees are all over it. And so I'm just like sitting here going like, wow, that smells so amazing. Yeah, it's pretty
Nice.
cool. One of the benefits of being at home, right?
Well, which I guess leads into, with quarantine. And, I do want to preface that I know everybody's, experience during this past year, has been different. And, some people I think have benefited from this time, and other people are suffering in many different ways
Mm.
um, because of it. So, I don't want to take away from the fact that, not everyone um, is enjoying this period.
No,
Um,
right.
but at the same time, I think regardless of your situation, and this is what I try to instill in my clients as well, is we can always find something that is good and positive.
Oh yeah.
Even if we have to dig deeper, than maybe some others. But I do think that regardless of personal situation, that there's some positive that can be found in this situation.
We it's funny because I just wrote a blog post about blessings and being in an attitude of gratitude, right? And I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And I can really look back over this last year and be like, oh wow, I got to spend time with my kids, which wasn't always a positive because we were homeschooling. So it was a little challenging, but it helped me grow. Like it helped me grow and helped me to witness the way that they were learning and to be able to help guide them through because the school that we're going through, like I'm actually the teacher. They do a lot of electronic
Yep.
classes, but I actually get to be the teacher. And so is it a benefit? One, first of all, that I was home and I was able to do something like that. I own my own company and have clients that, support whatever it is that I need. As long as I'm supporting them, they're supporting me, of course. But that was definitely something that, I didn't know that, my son was struggling so much in reading, or what the things that he needed to do. And I really had to kind of dig deep to when I was a kid, because I was very similar with the ADHD and squirrel, and you name it. But I learned differently. And so I was able to tap into remembering that and learning with him and teaching him better ways that he could learn and understand, things that teachers who didn't have that capability, like they hadn't gone through that experience, couldn't teach him. And so I think that definitely for me has been one benefit, and challenge. I will say, and challenge.
Hmm.
And it's definitely, I don't drink. I'm not drinking anymore this year, so it's definitely been a challenge. But yeah, no, it's been really cool to see them unfolding as, the little wonderful human beings that they are, and to be able to help them learn.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point in that idea of challenge. That, I think we need to stop looking at challenge as a negative. That,
Right.
challenge is an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to learn. And
Mm.
it's not always pleasant. That's why it's a
No.
challenge,
Yeah,
but
it makes you take your box that you're living in, and like push on the outside of that box. So you're always stretching to get on the outside of the box. And that's the best way that I can explain it. Like, here I am, I'm in my comfort zone. I'm really all nice and cozy in there. But then this thing comes along and it makes me do something I've never done before, or experience a feeling, to learn, to need to learn, to heal, whatever it is. And I get outside that box, and now I have a new box, right? And so
yep,
that's, to me, what a challenge is. It's just your continuous growth.
exactly. And I would echo that with family. I've heard that from a lot of my clients that they've gotten closer to family,
Yeah.
because they are stuck home together.
Yeah.
Um, I know at the beginning of this, last March, my youngest daughter, who was studying at college in New York City, comes home for her week of spring break. And during that week, New York City shut down.
Oh.
And so her college shut down. So she ended up what was to be a week home of staying from March all the way through June,
Oh, wow.
at home. And that was a challenge for her, because she missed her friends, she missed New York,
Of
and
course. Yeah.
unfortunately, it was her senior year, so they
Oh.
missed graduation and
Yep.
all the stuff she was excited about.
Yeah.
But when we look back on that, because she's back up in New York City, now, and that's where she plans to live, and when we reflect on that now in hindsight, um, that would have never been a possibility to have that time with her because she was going back after a week. We wouldn't have seen her
Yeah.
again until graduation.
Right.
Maybe not seen her over the summer because of school, work, whatever. So there was this extra months of time to spend with her that we would have never had. That would have
Right.
never
Right.
been in the cards.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm glad that this happened, but at the same time, I think when we look at reality and look at the difference of what can I change, what can I not change,
Mm.
we couldn't change the fact that we were put into this position.
Yeah.
But what we can change is our attitude toward it. So
Oh, yeah.
looking at that and helping her through, her adjustment of now taking online classes from our house and,
Yeah.
missing our friends and all, but her ability to get closer to the rest of us, her ability to spend more time with her niece, it just added something. So
Yeah, it gave you a different, it's a different way to, I mean, like, the outlook that you guys had was a positive outlook on the situation. Like, we're going to make the best of this. Right.
yep,
And like, hindsight, I'm sure you look back and go, wow, we really did make the best of it. And I think that's what we get caught up in sometimes, is that, everything is for our growth. That's a belief I hold,
hmm
that everything is here to make us grow, to reflect, to heal. And if we're not in the situation. Okay. And I say this like, if you're watching a movie and it's a really good movie, you can actually be in that movie, like so much that if
Oh
it's a
yeah.
scary movie and somebody jumps out, you're like, oh my God, that okay, my heart's racing. But if you're observing it and you're not in it, then it gives you the ability to actually see these are the things that are here to help me. And so if I just make the best of it and take the information that I'm being given and work from that point forward, that's all I can do, right? We don't want to look at the past. We don't want to live in the past. We definitely don't want to repeat the past. And so if we're taking the information we're giving in the now and we're moving forward with that information to help heal it, then there's nothing negative that can come out of that situation.
Yeah. And that's the way that I've been looking at it personally, and also, hearing a lot of my clients, in that life for many people slowed down.
Yeah.
And, I think now it's picking back up a little bit, but life really slowed down.
Mm,
And I know for me, and for people I was speaking with, they started to enjoy that, and people were, saying, we don't have all of these evening meetings, all of these activities, all of these things where we're
mm,
just running, running, running.
yeah.
Um, and people began to like that. And I just wonder if, as things begin to loosen, what do we take from this experience? I mean, are we just going to go right back to where we were and just running all over the place, and, not connecting with family and friends, and,
Mm,
just getting into that rat race again? Or can we take some of this quietness, that this more of a
space.
stillness, and
Yeah.
keep it?
Mm. And as you're talking about that and all the running around and all the things, I thought about how much, I mean, look, I know that there was a lot of people that struggled this last year. They lost jobs.
Hmm.
And they closed down establishments so that people couldn't work. And that's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. And I look at the alternative, which was I saved money. Not only did I save money by shopping online, or not having to have that instant gratification of, oh, I have to go to the store and I have to have this right now. But we weren't going out to eat as much. We were cooking at
Hmm.
home more. We were eating healthier because we were cooking at home more. We spent more time around the house, and the money that we did spend was to bring up our house, to improve it, right? And so, now we have our space that is our everyday, all the time space, because that's where we're at. We're not quarantined so much anymore, but we work from home. The kids go to school from home. Um, that gives us the opportunity to have that improvement on this space, and it's just been something that we would never have done before, because we would have been interested in,
Yep.
well, where are we going to go on vacation, and where are we going to go out to eat tonight because we don't have time because I had a meeting tonight, and et cetera, et cetera. So there was always reasons why it was like so much easier to have that convenience. And I think that this has taken us back into patience.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's really what I can sum it up in, is like, I'm more patient if I have to wait for something now. I'm more patient if I need to help the kids with school, or, oh, it's time for dinner. Well, it's going to take about an hour. Why don't you just run out and get fast food? And don't get me wrong, I found my COVID 10, 15 pounds too, because I was eating at home and baking
Hmm.
and doing all those things. But I recognize how much love I put into those kind of things, feeding my family. And so, like, it's just all of benefit, right? That's all benefit from being at home, because it's not something that it was a habit that got rudely interrupted, of going out and not taking care of the necessities of life. And now that it's brought me back, it's like, gosh, I forgot this is really enjoyable. Those things, cooking for them, do you like this food? Did you want to eat this? What do you want for dinner? Which is a very sour question in my family, by the way. I always have to decide. So, but
I do the
so
same
now,
thing.
yeah. So now I get to be more creative, and finding different things to eat, and not having the same meals all the time, or eating out at the same places all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody's excited about our conversation. She's like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm happy that you're happy too.
And I wish I could say it's about the conversation, but the neighbor's dog has been released. So
Uh-oh. Yeah, now we're excited.
um, yeah, so now my dog is saying hi to the neighbor's dog.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I totally agree in what you're saying, and I've heard and read a lot of articles where people have created game night and board
Yeah.
games, cards, that have kind of become a thing again. Um, so to me, it was almost like, I grew up throughout the 70s, before all of technology and everybody was running around as much.
Yeah.
And it almost reminded me of back then, that
Yeah.
we started to know who our neighbors were. And, you start to do the game nights, you're making the
Yeah.
dinners now, and instead of who's picking up what at what fast food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, you know, some of the positives of that era, I think returned.
Yeah.
And that's, one of the things that I hope people can reflect on is, what are some of these positives that have happened in my life, that maybe I would want to keep, that as things open up and whatever normal means, um, I don't know. I really don't want society to go back to what we were. Maybe
Yeah.
this was some sort of a wake up call in some ways, that, we're just too much into what we were doing, and too much into individuality, and too much into a lot of that. And this kind of just put a stop on that.
Well, you kind of like, one of the things that I feel like you just missed was materialism, right?
Mm,
And so I'll be
yep.
honest with you, like getting up, because I work from home, and getting up and going and doing the things that I enjoy, going for a walk, exercising, whatever, first thing in the morning. And then, I don't get sweaty. It's not like I'm some gross person. I sit around all day, whatever. But at the same time, like, I have the ability to, oh, a client needs something. Why do I want to sit down and do it real quick? I don't have to worry about, I have to be somewhere at a certain time. All I have to do is just sit down at my desk, take care of it. If I don't get a shower until 9:30, 10 o'clock, well, then so be it. But,
Hmm.
like, not having to put on my makeup every day, because guess what? I'm a natural beauty, right? And I don't say that to pat myself on the back, but I forget that I don't need those things to make myself worthy, right? And the clothes don't make me, the makeup doesn't make me. Being at a certain place at a certain time and looking a certain way is not what makes me the person that I am. What makes me the person that I am is, knowing that it's benefiting the things and the people around me. Knowing that if I'm the soil, my seeds are getting this information. My children see how hard I work. My clients see how hard I work to make sure that they're getting the things that they need and that they're taken care of. And that's nurturing. That's not just a female thing. That's a male thing as well. But it helps me to recognize that it's not what I have, okay? And I'm using air quotes, right? It's not what I have that makes me be the person that I am. And so
Right.
that was something that, okay, and I'm going to say it. Sorry, I know you probably, maybe the beard, you didn't want to have to shave every day, right? Makeup for girls, but no bra if I don't want to wear a bra, things like that. Like, you guys can walk around in your slippers if you want, your house slippers, you know, those are luxuries. I don't care what anybody says. It's
Yeah.
nice to be comfortable doing your work, as well as, feeling confident that you're still, an amazing person.
Yep. Well, and a lot of those things that, you're mentioning, for many of us, we could only do those things on weekends or vacation. Um,
Right.
or, whatever your days off during the week might be.
Hmm.
But that wasn't the norm. So now, yeah, we can relax. We can look at more of what's important out of life than, all of those materialistic things, because
Yeah.
we're not around people. Now, I do think there needs to be a
Mm,
balance. What?
yeah. Well, no, because when you say it, it's like, well, we're concerned about what other people think, right? There's judgment like
Yeah.
that we're worried about, and that's, in the family life that you create. I hope for everybody, but there is for me. There's no judgment, right?
Yep.
You know, my mom doesn't care if I have bags under my eyes and I don't have any makeup on when I call her, whether it's video chat or in person or whatever. And neither does my sons or my daughter, or my niece or my significant other, you know. And so that's another benefit, is that we don't have to worry about pressures like that, you know, to
Yep.
be something that we might not feel like being that day.
Exactly. And that right there could reduce stress if we
Mm,
can make that focus.
yeah.
Um, but I also think, as things begin to loosen up, that we need to find some balance of how do we interact with society, with others. Me being very much an introvert, staying at home
Yeah.
and not really interacting with people and just doing things on the screen is like, hey, this is wonderful.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
it's like I've been waiting for this my whole life. Uh,
Uh,
but there are moments that I do miss people, of just interacting with people in reality, not just through a screen.
mm,
But
yeah.
what's that balance? And again, I wonder if we were so much into the rush and the go and the do this and do that and meet with this, and can we balance that out so that we're not ignoring the interactions with people,
Mm,
but we're
or
also not
avoiding.
going
Yeah.
back into what we were doing?
Yeah. I think that it's a fine line to walk, you know, because it's funny, because I have the things that I do during the day, and all my family knows, and it's like, I don't constantly say, well, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. But when they call me, they're like, I know you're busy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I would give this is a welcome interruption. You know, I need to have this break, because if you didn't call me, I would just keep going. You know what I mean? And so the balance for me there is that, you know, knowing that I need to stop, knowing that I need to stop and pick up the phone. And, you know, so my morning time, like I was saying, you know, between probably 7 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock in the morning, I really don't like to do work. I do, but that's when I can pick up the phone and call a girlfriend that I haven't talked to in forever. Or sometimes it's silly, it's just a random text to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, I love you, you know. And it's always, you know, I know that everybody gets busy, and I'm sure we all know that everybody gets busy. um,
Hmm.
I think that it's most important, though, to make sure that you don't take it personally, you know, because that's something that I definitely used to do. Would be like, well, they never called me. They didn't call when they said they were. Well, I haven't talked to them in forever. But you know, the best kind of friendships that I have still to this day are the ones that you can just pick up. It can be months, years, whatever, and
Yep.
you're just talking like you've been sitting on the front porch drinking tea forever, you know. And so I think that balance is practiced. It's
Yeah.
something that we have to learn.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that. And for those who are watching and listening, are saying, well, I'm an essential worker. I've been working every day, or, I lost my job, and, it's nice, that they get to work from home. But, you know, again, we need to look at all of our situations and find what is positive within your situation.
Mm.
And if you've been working every day and you're working really hard and maybe overworked, what are some of those areas of your life that have changed because of this for the positive, and begin to focus on some of that and see what you can do to incorporate that into your life.
Okay, so guess what?
You have a
I
listening
do
challenge?
have. I have listened to challenge. Like, I listen to you sometimes, and I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so there is um, a practice. It's called Kailego, and I can't remember the gentleman's name at the moment. His name is escaping me, but Kailego is acting as if. Okay, so like, first you get into a state of gratitude, like, you know, I'm so happy that I woke up this morning, I have my health, my children are healthy, et cetera, et cetera. So you're supposed to pick three things, different things every day that you're grateful for, that have happened usually within the last
Hmm.
24 hours. then you can make a list of all your wants, right? Like maybe 5 or 10 to start. And then you start to talk about those things as if you've already had them. I would like to challenge people to see if they will find somebody who will do this practice with them once a week. Maybe just do it once this week, but do it. And you talk about this stuff like it is already happened. I don't care if you're talking about, I want $1 million. And let me tell you what, I'm paying off my mom's house. I'm paying off my house. I'm giving this person money. I'm going on vacation. I'm doing this, whatever it is that gets your juices flowing and gets you excited about it, to get you in that space of gratitude, because it's going to start to draw it to you. And I don't know how many of our listeners are familiar with the law of attraction. I would assume a lot of them are, but the law of attraction, it's not about manifesting or creating those things. It's about like attracting like. And so you have to be in that space before those kind of things can just come to you. And that's a practice. You have to practice being in that space, because here I am, 42 years old, and I have practiced for years and years being in the opposite. So it took me probably the last 10 years of my life to start to get to a place where I'm actually reaping the benefits of those things. And it's not hard work. I promise you, it's so easy. This is the inner peace that Chris and I want you to achieve. These are the things that we're trying to get you to curb, every little things every day, because those little things will make big waves in the future.
Yep. I think that's an awesome listener challenge. And, let's see what you can come up with. And as always, to share, the way we all learn is about sharing. And, I'd also encourage the listeners to, put down some of the things that they've been doing to, make life a little bit easier and positive for them during this quarantine time. What's been working for them, what's improved in their lives. And we can learn from that, and maybe realize some of the positives based off of other people that we never even thought of ourselves, that we can see positive in our lives.
Absolutely. And just really quickly, if anybody doesn't understand what I'm talking about on how to do the Kailego challenge, I actually wrote an article called The Art of Kailego. So go to my website or go search on Google Missy Ordway, The Art of Kailego, and that's Kylego. And it will tell you how to go through the motions of what you're supposed to do. And you can do it by yourself. It's not like you can't, it's just always nice to have somebody else's energy to feed off of.
Yep. Totally agree. Especially in this time of quarantine, when we don't have as many people, so it is really important to do that. So that's awesome. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what people create. Even if you want to share your lists with us, you want to share your gratefuls with us, we're always excited to hear from you when you hashtag On Finding Peace. Awesome. Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Chris, for your time.
Yep. It's a pleasure as always.
All right. Thanks, listeners. We'll talk to you soon.